All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Coffeyville City Commission meeting for Tuesday, March 24th, 2020. This time we'll take roll.
Mayor Bauer,
Present.
Commissioner Maxson,
Here.
Commissioner York,
Here.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Here.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Here.
Okay. Tonight's invocation will be led by Kevin O'Connor he's the pastor of Agape Fellowship Church. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Do I still need to go over here?
You can wherever you're comfortable at.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, Lord. We thank you for the time that we come here, Lord, and discuss the city's business, Lord. Pray, Lord, that you would lead, God, and direct our leaders, God, all the commissioners, the mayor, vice mayor, God, the city manager. Pray that you would have your hand in the midst of all the situations that we're facing right now. Help us to hold on to our hope and our faith in you. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move into amended agenda to add an executive session. I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Either one.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Vice Mayor Doan to approve amended agenda to add an executive session. Commissioner Maxson,
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Moving into the consent agenda, the City Commission meeting minutes for Tuesday, March 10th, 2020. The second reading of ordinance number S-20-01, an ordinance authorizing and providing for the acquisition of an interest in certain abandoned rail beds by eminent domain, and 2020 appropriation ordinance number AO-20-06 in the amount of $4,425,240.80. Are there any questions, comments, or amendments to these first three items on the consent agenda?
We have, again, quite a bit of an appropriation ordinance again, $4 million. About half of that is from the Grand River Dam Authority, $2.3 million. And then with that comes the amount that we pay to Southwest Power Pool for the transmission of that, and that's about $500,000. We also paying, and I don't know this is pay estimate number 5 that we are paying to RFB Construction, and they are doing our intersection improvements also. And then another one was the principal and interest payment on the fire truck of about $30,000, plus our payroll. So that's just where all of it goes.
So we also had the sales tax payout to USD 445 for $930,000 in
Yep.
that. And then, Stephanie, I had a question on Ashplund. So how often are we billed on them? Weekly? Okay, so is that based on work they performed, or is that just a contract price for those? Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No. Seeing none, I will move to approve the first three items on the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve items 1 through 3 on the consent agenda as presented. Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson.
Aye.
2020 appropriation ordinance number AO-20-06 for Ishams in the amount of $253.24. Questions or comments regarding this item?
If there's no questions, I'll move to approve ordinance number AO-20-06A.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner York, seconded by Commissioner Maxson to approve item 4 of the consent agenda as presented. Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Abstain.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson,
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
This time we'll take comments from the public. The public is free to comment on items not listed on the agenda. Please address comments to the commission as a body and be mindful of others who may also wish to speak by limiting your comments to 3 minutes.
Rick, let's put you up first. Limited to 3 minutes.
No.
Public, sit there so we
Yeah,
hear ya.
so everyone can hear you.
All right, well, thanks for having me here. I'm sure everyone knows what I'm here to talk about, but it really is an effort to try to lend just a measure of clarity to the mass confusion that's going on right now. And the confusion really is understandable.
Is the mic on?
There you go. Got it now.
The amount of information and the seemingly credible sources that it's coming from is just overwhelming. I mean, it is for my office as well. I mean, we get so many different things coming at us, we just can't disseminate all of it. And it really gets to the point where you just don't know who to believe or who to trust. And seriously, that is how it is. So I've actually got 2 additional people in my office now just for that, just to try to monitor social media, try to answer the questions. And so what I'm trying to make people understand is the complexity of this event. It's not like anything else that we've ever experienced in our lifetimes. Nothing has ever happened like this. So everyone is trying to feel their way through it. And it's difficult, especially for leaders, because leadership is placed in a very difficult position. Because the opinions about the measures being taken to mitigate this are so widely opposing. You have some that think that everything that we're doing is incredibly overrated, that we're doing way more than we should. The measures being taken are extreme. And there are those that think that we're not doing enough and that life safety is such a big issue that we should be doing more. And there are very few that reside in the middle. So as leadership, the problem is every decision you make, you're open for criticism from one or the other. It's extremely difficult. However, the county, Montgomery County, is doing very well. And I really believe that the leadership down here, you guys really do have an all-star team of leadership. From Quinn and Billy and Mike and Mark, all of them. They work together, they all have a good understanding, and they seem to have a very logical and reasonable approach to the threat as it resides now. And the threat, the problem is the numbers and the places that people are going to find these things are not always reliable at the moment. And I don't mean to say that they're not, I guess reliable wasn't a good word. Because when the KDHE is the head department in charge of this whole thing. And if I can encourage anyone to do anything, it's get your information from the KDHE, not anywhere else. And even the KDHE's information that they put out is accurate at the time they post it. An hour later, it could be different. Because the test, if you understood all that was entailed in the testing and how it's sent off, how long it takes to come back, there's PUIs, which is people under investigation. So if you were symptomatic, you know, you came back from New York recently, well, and all of a sudden you have issues, so you are a person under investigation. It doesn't mean you're positive, and 95% of all the tests in the country, or in the state, sorry, 95% in the state come back negative. So you're a person under investigation. It just means that you meet the criteria to have been tested. And if that's just what I'm telling you, so if you haven't been tested, you come back and you are symptomatic and you just came back from somewhere, then we put you in quarantine. And we may not necessarily test you. And if you're in quarantine, this is where I think a lot of the positives, because we get so many calls and we heard. I mean, I just was sitting back there texting just now because I was told there was a positive case in Parsons. So I text the head of the health department in Labette County, she's not aware of anything. So the problem is I think that people think that when you go into quarantine that you're positive, and you're not. Quarantine is where you put someone until you find out if it's positive or not. Isolation is where you go if you've been confirmed. So I think that discrepancy is something that people don't really understand. But the main thing I want to, and one of the reasons I had that meeting tomorrow, is because I want to brief all of the county leadership at the same time, so everybody's hearing the same thing. I want to tell you where we're at, what got us here, and where I think we're headed. And then I want to give you all of the tools that we have so you can answer the questions yourselves. When somebody comes and asks you, why are they not this? Why is this happening? I want you to know what I know so you can go, this is it. This is where you look.
Right.
That's the main reason for tomorrow. That would prevent me from having to come down here and spend an hour in every commission meeting in the county. So I just wanted to throw that out there and let you know what tomorrow is all about. And of course I kind of waded off into what I didn't really understand because I didn't understand all the COMA rules, and Paul thankfully helped me out there. Thanks, Paul. So I thought it would be more of an informal thing, but I guess there's no such thing when it comes to commissioners. So anyway, so that's the reason for tomorrow. But I just want you to, if nothing else, to understand how complex this is and how much information is out there. My gosh, the emails were on. A month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we were on a once-a-week conference call every Monday at 10 o'clock, conference call for an hour. Then it went to every day, suddenly, every day. It was every day at 1. Then it went to twice a day, every day at 1 and 5. And there for a while, it was every day at 10, 1 and 5. Well, we had to start trading off in our office because by the time you spend an hour on a conference call, you don't have time to do anything about what you learned because you're on another one. So, so my point there is, in all of this stuff comes in written form also. So you get things from the governor, from KDEM, you know, from the KDHE, from the CDC, and everybody is sending you all this information. And there's so many complexities: hotels, restaurants, daycare, schools, transportation. You know, so these conference calls has all of this, all the state departments in there, the Department of Commerce, Department of Labor, all of these people are in this conference call so you can ask questions, which is another thing I'm here to tell you about. If there are questions that you can't answer and you want to know, send them to me in an email, in a text, or however you want to get it to me. And we have a portal that I can type these questions into the state EOC. And then when we get on the conference call, they address those. And after they address it, they send it to me in written form. So I can, if you ask me, why are we not closing such and such, I can type that in, they'll address it, and then later on I can print off and show you the question, the answer, and who answered it. So, I mean, they're trying their very best to answer all the questions out there, but if you were to listen to a couple of these calls, you would realize that there are so many complications they can't all be covered. And this animal changes hour by hour. So that's been one of my issues. I will post a release with accurate information at that minute. An hour later, somebody's contacted, well, that's not true because this and it. Well, if I told you right now that the state of Kansas has 602 confirmed deaths, which it doesn't, that's the whole nation. But by the time I tell you that, within an hour, that number's changed because those test results are coming in by the minute. You know, so a lot has changed. I can tell you that consistently over the course of this whole event, the mortality rate has been right around 1.2, 1.3% nationwide. So there are things out there you can't trust. You can't trust the global numbers because not all those countries are reporting properly. And it became abundantly clear to me when I watched China's numbers climb way up and then stop. And it's right across for a week. They went up hardly any. So when you see, you know, global numbers, and when they're not reporting all the cases, but they're reporting the deaths, then the death rate goes up. So all of these things are it's just really complicated, but I want you to know that I have a lot of confidence in Coffeyville's leadership. They are doing a great job. They're not going to extremes, but they're not doing too little. At some point, you have to apply common sense, logic, and reason to your decision making. And no matter what you do, somebody's not going to like it. So just bear that in mind. And the one thing I've tried to implore people to do is be understanding that if you don't understand the decision, if you think that decision doesn't make any sense, or why would anyone do that, it's probably because you don't have all the information they did to make that decision. You're probably just not as informed as they are.
Right.
And that really is the case. I've done the same thing. There's been things that's come down from KDEM, and I'm like, why in the world would that happen? So when you ask, and then they explain it to you, suddenly it becomes clear. So I'm trying to tell the public that as well. When Mark makes a decision, or his team does, they have a lot more information to base that decision on. So anyway, I don't want to take up any more time. I just wanted to give you that little briefing. If you have a question, I'd be happy to answer it.
Just real quick, what is your role? I'm a little confused because I'm reading information about other counties, and if a county commission decides to take a certain action, then it has to be approved by the health director of the county.
Yep.
So how do you fall in that decision making?
Well, the person that has authority is whoever's in charge of the health department. The health department is the governing body right now in these kind of incidents. I'm the director of emergency management, so I'm like her support. Our health department doesn't do anything without contacting me first.
Okay.
And that's because I have all of the state, the KDEM and all of those people that I answer to and that give me information. And she has all the health side that she gets her stuff from.
So where does Dr. Gangula, as the medical director for the health department, fall into it?
He's the medical director for the health department, but he doesn't have control over everything they do.
Okay.
The ultimate person is the county health nurse is in charge of the health department.
Okay.
But the medical board is the county commissioners.
Okay.
So if let's just, for instance, if she wanted to put out a stay-at-home order that just came out from the governor on guidance on that.
Yeah.
If she wanted to do that, she would have to draft that up in written form. Paul would have to see it. He'd have to approve it, and the commissioners would have to approve it before that was issued in the county, which that is a local decision. The governor has no intention of making people stay home.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the authority is the health department.
Okay.
If she came in and said she wanted that place closed, there's a pretty good chance it would happen,
Yeah. Okay.
unless they were critical infrastructure of some kind. So,
And then communication to the citizens. Does that come from you? What's the best method?
well, that's another reason for tomorrow.
Okay.
Because when this all began, there was a lot of the spotlight kind of went on schools initially.
Yeah.
So all of the school superintendents and the county health department and my department all met, and we met several times. And what we decided in that meeting was if one school did it, they were all going to do it. And then whatever that decision was, we were all going to put our name on the bottom of it, so we would share in the responsibility of that decision, which I love that. I mean, that's great. Because if Coffeyville chose to implement some measure and Independence didn't, they're both open for criticism.
Yeah.
But if they all do the same thing, we all share in the responsibility. So we've done that across the board with a lot of different, all the police, Quinn and all the police chiefs and the sheriff and I are on a conference call every day. And we're doing the same thing, sharing officers. I encourage the leadership, which is another reason for tomorrow, to, if you don't do the same thing as the other cities do, they at least know what you're doing. So I want to open the lines of communication so that everybody knows what everybody else is doing. You guys may have a great idea down here that someone else never thought about. Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about implementing that, before you issue that press release, if you notify the other cities, they may have some plausible reason why you should do something else. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you collectively come to decisions, but ultimately you have to do what's best for your community. You're responsible for Coffeyville, and it's that simple. But I do encourage regular press releases because gossip and rumors thrive in the absence of information. So if you're not putting out press releases, it doesn't look like you're doing anything.
Yeah.
So even if you're telling people that you're meeting and you're reviewing policies and you're covering executive orders, and the community needs to know that, or they'll assume you're not doing anything. So even though I know you're meeting, I don't know that everybody does.
Right.
Yeah.
So regular press releases, consistent. You want to be consistent. And there's another reason why we're meeting tomorrow, because if you guys put something out, another city puts something out that contrasts with what you just did, then you both look like you don't know what you're doing. So,
Yep.
anyway.
I had one more and then I'll be quiet, Rick. So I went to Country Mart last night. I was in there for maybe 12 minutes. Walked around, 3 different people that knew I was on the commission came up and asked basically the same question. So when a case does come to Coffeyville, how are we going to know? And I really couldn't give them a good answer because I don't know.
Well, I can tell you that my assistant, the assistant emergency manager in Montgomery County, he is also the lower 8 regional health coordinator, which is a real benefit here because he coordinates the 8 health departments in this region. So there is not a chance there's going to be a positive in this county that we're not going to know it very quickly. And we already have a press release prepared for that. And it will happen. I mean, we're going to get one. There's no doubt. I can't believe it hadn't happened already, to be honest with you. You know, a lot of counties around us have.
Yeah.
So it'll happen. But when that time comes, there'll be a press release. And it'll be very quickly because you don't want anyone thinking that you're trying to withhold any information.
Yeah.
We want you to know.
Yep.
So the health department is notified of every test. Anybody who's tested, whether it's positive, negative, or any, they're notified. And originally, I was trying to track negative, positive, everything. Well, it became too burdensome and unproductive. It really was. You know, there were so many, you know, because it started off, there were only 75,000 test kits in the entire nation. Well, and when you prioritize those, and you can imagine Houston, New York, Los Angeles, San Diego, all these cities, where do you think Montgomery County found itself in there? So we had very few, and they weren't testing a lot of people. And there also wasn't anything close to us either. So all of that, the way all of that came about, that changed a lot. So I lost my train of thought on where I was going with that.
How it's reported.
There you go. See, that's what you're here for, isn't it? So anyway, those tests go out, and it comes back, and like I said, we were trying to track it, but so what started off the hospitals, you know, Labette, CRMC, and CHC, Community Health Center. Well, then all of the doctor's offices and clinics and stuff like that were able to test. So then it just got to where it was just way too much, and it didn't really matter because the KDHE would tell you that statewide, 95% come back negative. So I assumed that we could extrapolate that locally and not have to go through all the trouble of tracking all the negative results. All we care about is when that first positive shows up.
Right.
So
when the first positive shows up, the county health department immediately gets that information, correct? And then it's up between the county and wherever that case is to work to get about the press. I mean, you have the press release already ready, but so that the timing of and the confirmation is correct.
And there's HIPAA laws and things you have to be very careful
That's
of.
correct.
But the county health nurse who is in charge of that will be there tomorrow. So she can lend some clarity to a lot of this herself.
So they're not really announcing it was in this city or that city, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically saying you have a case in that
In the
county.
county, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, and some of the demographics are tracked, you know, like how many are in certain age groups. You know, I have access to all of that too, so.
I did hear Dr. Brex today in her press conference that they have tested more in the last 8 days than South Korea did in 8 weeks. So, you know, I mean, the speed of it's really gone exponentially fast.
That's another misconception that I think people have, because as the community saturation increases, the testing decreases. So it's kind of like if you and I are both positive and she's been near us and now she's symptomatic, we can reasonably assume she's got it too. There's no point in testing her. We just, the treatment's going to be the same. We're going to quarantine you for 14 days, and if symptoms get bad enough, you'll go to the hospital. So there's just no point in inundating the test centers with unnecessary testing. But I have a group of doctors here who collectively called me on a conference call the other day, and they disagree with that policy. It's okay, you can disagree, but it's not my call. It's the KDHE's call. So, but to that point, I did relay their concern through that web EOC portal I have, and it was addressed, and they gave them the same answer I did, but I hadn't printed for them from an authority figure. That's all I needed.
CDC's also gave that directive, have they not, that there's no point in testing if you know within a reasonable doubt that that's what it is, so.
Yeah. So again, I don't want to take up all your time, but
So I went to the doctor on the 16th, and I tested positive for flu A. And I'm out of the realm now, so we're all good. I don't have a fever anymore. I had all the same symptoms. I was kind of worried. But what they told me was that there was only one place in town that could test, and that was the health department. And that if you have the symptoms, you shouldn't even go to your PCP. You should go directly to the health department.
Well, that's sort of accurate.
Okay.
There are a lot of places that can test you in the county, and you shouldn't go to your provider. You should call first.
Okay.
So, you know, if you're symptomatic, they don't want you showing up at the health department and infecting all their people either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they would prefer a phone call first. But no, there's a lot of places that can test you. But that was part of the problem. You couldn't track everyone. CRMC and they were texting me every day, but they have clinics, you know, clinics in testing. And I mean, it just got so complicated with so many different places that it doesn't matter. We're waiting on a positive, and
Yeah.
we'll go from there.
Yep.
Yeah, because the community health center is doing testing too.
But I do want you to know, I've said this before, and I'm not just throwing fluff out there. This is not just idle flattery. Coffeyville has a really good leadership team down here. I mean, I would have all the confidence in the world with them if I were a citizen of Coffeyville. I'm a citizen of the county, but not specifically Coffeyville.
Right.
But I have a lot of confidence in your leadership down here, so.
Well, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank
That
you.
means a lot.
Anything else?
Nope.
No.
Think you're good. We
All right.
appreciate your time tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
Know you're
Thank
busy,
you.
so thank you.
Take up too much of it.
No, you're good. Perfectly fine.
Yes, thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Sounds good. Okay, we'll move into new business. Resolution number R-20-15, a resolution approving the issuance by the Board of County Commissioners of Montgomery County, Kansas, of its taxable industry revenue bond to pay the cost of the acquisition, construction, renovation, and equipment of an existing commercial facility to be leased to Prosperity Builders, LLC, which facility is located outside the corporate city limits of the city of Coffeyville, but within 3 miles thereof. City Manager Mark Hall will make comments. I got a lot to read. What is up with that? It's your fault.
What you have before you is the county's requisition 20-043 for an IRB. To explain the industrial revenue bond, simply, this is an approval to move forward because of the property being located within the 3 mile area. The city does not have, nor does county, have a obligation that is put on the taxpayers with an IRB. That is with, of course, there's 2 ways an IRB can be purchased by the company, and it could be through a financial institution. This is, in short terms, an IRB is just allowing for a tax exemption on construction and materials for that. That's it in a nutshell. It does. It is material that if they weren't here, we wouldn't get the sale anyway. So it is something that is not costing us that we're giving up.
Right.
It is not giving up because they're new, and they're going to be doing new things with those materials. So that's just kind of a general of an IRB, and because of being within the 3-mile limits, this process seeks your approval, and basically that is to approve Resolution 20-15. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
I read through it. I didn't have any questions. Anyone else?
I don't either. No.
I move to approve Resolution R-20-15 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Commissioner Maxson, to approve Resolution R-20-15 as presented. Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson,
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Down.
Aye.
You can come up here if you'd like to speak.
All right. Well, hello everyone. This is Javier Garcia, Director of
Yes.
Manufacturing with Prosperity Builders. Great to be here. Thank you for putting this on the agenda. We're really excited about the opportunity to come into the city of Coffeyville, Montgomery County, and the state of Kansas for this venture. To your point, our plans are to invest upwards of about $20 million for the overall improvements of the building, site improvement, and equipping of the facility. Our plans are to set up what we're calling a modular home manufacturing facility. So basically building single-family and multifamily homes inside the factory, but built to the standard building codes that you would build traditional stick-built. So for those reasons, we believe there's a lot of good benefits to using this approach. And we believe that there's a lot of good synergy and opportunities to partner with the community here in terms of doing those things, building a job base. So our plans to employ upwards of 120 employees for that facility for a one-shift operation. And we're hoping, more opportunity as we continue to grow the operation, as well as doing things like partnering with the Coffeyville Community College. We've had some discussions with them on developing a construction technology program for mutual benefit the operation, but also benefit the college and the community. So I think, going forward, we feel really good about, some of those partnerships. And again, we're really excited about the opportunity. We appreciate the time to go through this on your agenda and, allowing us to move forward with it. And we hope to be a good neighbor. That's all.
Thank
I got.
you. Yes, Javier, we appreciate
Yes,
you.
thank you very much.
Yes, very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving into Resolution R-20-16, a resolution to accept grant and approve programming submittal to KDOT for the Transportation Alternatives Grant. Superintendent Thomas Osborne.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. Last commission meeting, you were notified that we were awarded the Transportation Alternative Grant for a combined Safe Routes to School and a trail bike ped extension located along the abandoned rail spur to the east side of Sherman-Williams, heading south. As part of that grant and the acceptance of that is the actual program request to have KDOT program the funds for next construction season. If we don't get this in, they won't have the funds for the next construction season, and it would get pushed back. So that's what this essentially does. It authorizes them to, or requests them to program it, and it says that we'll have the funds to progress forward. The funds would come from the transportation sales tax. These are estimated numbers currently. Once we get final design, and there is still, you get final design, something major that nobody saw first come in that we just would find in our investigations. There are ways to where we can slow the project down, or if something's just unsurpassable we find, then we can actually back out of that at that point. But they got to get this programmed in so that they have their funds to be able to move forward. So.
And this, remind me again, it starts where now?
Okay, so the sidewalks, they continue west on First Street. They actually join with the current built trail at First Street over to Buckeye and come down both Buckeye and Wilkie to the hospital.
Okay.
Then we have on 8th Street at Klein heading west to, I believe it's the, going off the top of my head, the welding school for the college.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have on, what is it? There's one more section that I can't remember exactly where at that comes down to, I think it's Edgewood. So,
Okay.
so yeah, it comes down on Edgewood.
Okay.
And then there's also a small section of, and we're not sure because it was kind of a requested ad by KDOT from the 11th Street where the trail's going to quasi dead end right there next to Taco Bell,
Okay.
Orscheln's, Brahms, Pizza Hut, that area there. It will actually go west and tie into the sidewalks at Klein.
Fine. Okay.
And then, of course, the actual trail would go from the 4th Street trailhead now all the way south to the highway, as well as the alleyway south of 8th Street, kind of just on the north side of the West Side Plaza. It'll cut across there and come down Hall and tie into the AARP grant, whereas also where one of the bike stations for the new bike share program
Okay.
is going to be located.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And all this will be put out for bid.
This would be put out for bid by KDOT, I believe probably next February.
And so when I looked at it, we're receiving the max from KDOT. I know the total was like 1.3 million on this one, and KDOT's portion of it was around 900 and some thousand. So really, it's not an 80-20 split. It's more like a 65-35 split.
For the construction, it's very close to the 80-20 split.
Uh-huh.
We are responsible for design, engineering, any right-of-way and utility costs.
Okay.
Those are not participating.
Okay. I just saw that it
Yeah.
said that we did get the max grant from the state, but just our portion just didn't
Yeah.
cover it all, right?
So that's
Good
where
enough.
that's where it got bigger, is
Yep.
the design, engineering, right-of-ways and stuff like that.
Okay.
Okay. That's great.
Any other questions?
I didn't have any. I move to approve resolution number R-20-16 as presented.
Second?
Motion is made by Commissioner Van Oster, seconded by Mayor Bauer, to approve Resolution R-20-16 as presented. Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon,
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
Resolution R-20-17, a resolution to approve work order number 2 with BG Consultants for KDOT Transportation Alternative Grant Design. Superintendent Thomas Osborne.
Thank you again, Mayor Commissioners. This be a work authorization through the master services agreement that we have with BG Consultants. This would be their second work authorization under that master services agreement. It's based off of estimated cost hours worked based on their hourly schedule and rate fee, which is provided in the packet. So we also partnered with BG in getting the application for this transportation alternative grant. So they make a really good candidate, and since it's 100% city funded on the right-of-way, it's recommended to move as quickly as possible. They already know kind of the project area. They did the Safe Routes to School previous as well. So we recommend approving the work authorization to have BG Consultants do the design work for this transportation alternative grant.
Questions for Thomas? Comments? None? I'll make a motion to approve Resolution R-20-17 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Commissioner Van Oster, to approve Resolution R-20-17 as presented. Commissioner Maxon,
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Resolution R-20-18, a resolution to approve change order number 1 for the 2019 intersection and drainage improvement project. Superintendent Thomas Osborne.
Thank you again, Mayor and Commissioners. So the 2019 drainage improvement project had included the intersection of 8th and Central and 8th and Howard. That intersection is also a truck route for, I think it's Lindy, Mueller Construction, and then I think some of the bus routes go along there.
Yep.
And it has that kind of jog in it that causes problems. Well, when we designed it and bid these out, there was not the knowledge that that corner, the commercial buildings there that were falling into disrepair were going to be court-ordered demolished. And so those have been demolished. At this point, it would make sense to try to realign that intersection to make it both an improvement for just general traffic, but especially for those truck traffics to try to get up north and south. So we reached out, we have already reached out to the property owners. We haven't really heard back from any of them, but we feel that it would be best served for the city's interest to hold off on these intersections. We can shelve these plans. If things don't turn out, we can bid them back out. But that way that would complete this contract for the RFB construction.
I think it's a good opportunity.
Yes.
Do it now before we fix it and then have to tear it up a year or two from now.
Right.
So,
So if there are no questions, I'll move to approve Resolution R 2018 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner York, seconded by Mayor Bauer, to approve Resolution R-20-18 as presented. Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson.
Aye.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes.
Resolution R-20-19, a resolution to suspend municipal court proceedings due to the COVID-19 emergency. City Attorney Paul Kreitz.
Commissioners, last Wednesday, the Chief Justice of the State Supreme Court issued an administrative order basically shutting down district court operations except for emergency operations, and staff believe it's appropriate to follow suit. Any given Monday when we have municipal court, we have very large gatherings of individuals that are typically seated pretty close together. We certainly couldn't observe the spacing requirements without using another room or two, so we think we ought to follow suit and just suspend operations until the district court operations resume, or until you all make a decision to open courts otherwise.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I think so. I move to approve Resolution R-20-19 as presented.
Second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Van Oster, seconded by Commissioner Maxson, to approve Resolution R-20-19 as presented. Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson,
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Resolution R-20-20, a resolution to approve purchase of 2 police vehicles. Police Captain Darren Daly will make comments.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners, generally the police department has replaced 2 vehicles each year due to the wear and tear and the constant use of these vehicles. They're run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Last year, due to budget constraints, we were not able to purchase 2 vehicles. So as a result, these cars have been ran more and more. Recently, we've had to take 2 vehicles completely out of service, and we've got a 3rd vehicle that's kind of our last resort car that we've told guys not to drive unless you absolutely had to. Originally, we had budgeted for $84,482. Our plan was to purchase 2 Dodge Chargers and then a replacement used K9 Tahoe. Problem is, Dodge has shut down production on their Chargers early this year. There were some issues with the transmission, so they went back to kind of attempt to retool, is what we were originally told. Since then, they have pretty much shut down and told us that they weren't going to even mess with the 2020s anymore, and we're going to do the 2021s. Of course, that was before the COVID started, and now they've shut down production completely. The Charger would have been our ideal choice. They're cheaper. Most of our fleet are Chargers. It would have been made it easier to transfer some equipment, but due to that, we've had to look elsewhere. I've called all over, reaching out to all the contacts I could to try to find some, and just haven't been fortunate to see if they had any left on the lot somewhere. So as a result, some further checking, I did find 2 Ford Interceptor utility vehicles. It's basically the Ford Explorer. We do have 2 that we bought back in 2013. One of those is which is what I've had to take out of service recently, and the other one is one of the car I'd say is our last leg car. But anyway, and they do cost a little bit more, so that's why we're limited. Instead of the 3 vehicles like we had originally had hoped for, we're just going to go with the 2 Ford Interceptors, which I did locate at Shawnee Mission Ford in Topeka. They do have the state contract, same contract Highway Patrol has, and that's why we'll be purchasing the same price that they purchase them as well.
So the 2 you had to take out of service, are those the oldest vehicles?
Well, that, and we did have to take one of our older Chargers out of service. Some of the maintenance, well, for the example, on the one of the Chargers, it was required. It was one of our older ones, and it was needing like $2,000 worth of front end work. The other Ford Explorer we had, it needs a new transmission, and we priced those at $5,000. The car's not probably worth $5,000 now. It's a 2013. It's been around for a while, so it's our recommendation to purchase the 2 Ford Interceptors from Shawnee Mission at the state contract.
Any other questions?
I think it's important to stay on top of replacing these vehicles. We've seen this in the past where you defer that because you don't want to do it for budgetary reasons, and it comes back to bite you every time because you end up having to do a very large purchase.
Mm-hmm.
So initially you were asking for 3.
Yes, we were going to buy 2 new Chargers and then like a used utility vehicle.
Okay, so you'd have another backup?
Well, it was going to be a K9 replacement Tahoe for my vehicle.
Okay. So now we're going to 2.
That's correct.
So what do we not have now?
Right now, we don't have, this would be just frontline car. We don't have a K9 vehicle to replace mine, but I'm working on using some old equipment and trying to fix that. So,
Getting creative. Any other questions?
I would say you probably ought to continue to look out there though and see if you can't find something to replace that.
Yep. Continue to look.
Thank you.
I'd move to approve resolution R-20-20 as presented.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Commissioner Maxson, seconded by Vice Mayor Doan, to approve Resolution R-20-20 as presented. Commissioner Van Oster?
Aye.
Mayor Bauer?
Aye.
Commissioner Maxson?
Aye.
Commissioner York?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan?
Aye.
Thank you, Darren. City Manager's report.
Mayor, Commissioners, I'll move fast through this, just giving you kind of update what we are doing through the virus. Staff is currently meeting and has been meeting, but we now have decided to meet every other day, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We have been meeting daily. It is one of those as this change, and I think Rick summed up a lot of things I was going to say. It is one of those, I hope the community understands, our role, that we only have certain powers, and we will put this out, explaining that, what Rick said. It is the Montgomery County Department of Health that is in control. From there, it is one of those, it'll go down to the cities, but ultimately business closures, these kind of things will be handled through them and then through the city. We don't have that authority. It is one of those that the governor, in fact, your local, has, in a sense, more authority than the governor to handle local problems. So tomorrow's meeting, I think that will be a discussion that how do you progress? What do you do? I did send out some information as of 3/18 to answer those so far, and this is what Rick was talking about, submitting questions to the group and having which authority answers those questions. And on 3/18, it was just to clarify that on mass gatherings, our restaurants, is there anything that is a directive towards restaurants? The answer was, and I think if you see in that picture, is no. The governor has banned public gatherings, in which now it's 10. It was 50 people for the next 2 months. No guidance in Kansas has been released on bars, restaurants, closings. This is a local decision. Check with your county commissioner's office and or health department to determine if they plan or have issued. So tomorrow, and that's what is the question is I know letting the public know this is only our authority, and through this there will be confusion. We are doing things that I'll get into, but it is one of those. This is dictated, will be dictated by the county health department. And that will say that if something is to close, the county will issue that, we will get that in writing, and then we will, of course, comply with their instruction. But that's bringing up what you will see tomorrow, and there will be a lot of questions for the county health department. I do have, which is a thing, or one of our sister cities, Pittsburgh, has released what we just talked about. Same statement they have. We will probably release that same statement, just for people understanding what we are limited on, what authority we have, and that will come out. They did it for Crawford County, and that's what they have is Crawford County Commission, but the city explains their responsibility. I just sent something, and we're trying to get better and improve, but these are the most accurate numbers.
Yep.
You have. It is one of those, we are trying to improve our site. I do have, if I can hand that to the commissioner, they can take one of those. This is out on our site. What we are trying to do is that information is out there. We're trying to update it. We are trying to link different sites to us. So if they came to our site on the web or on Facebook, there would be ways that they could navigate around. Of course, you can see the bottom lists of sites, just local and things, CDC, these kind of things that they're going to go to, but we are going to try to improve those. It is a daily thing. We talked to the hospital. Stephanie's been moving that forward. It's trying to get where if you go on ours, you can get to the hospital to get updates, or if you go to the hospital, you can get city updates. And that's what we're trying to work with and partner. There is more. Montgomery County action is, Tricia's here, they're coming up. We're just trying to get the thing that we look at, and Rick said it the best. We're all trying to inform, we're trying to pick, and the sad thing is, he said if you had to go to one site, go to the one that's running this show, and that's KDHE. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is, if you try to tell people that's the best thing to go, they're putting out everything they can, it's up to date, they're putting out the mandates from the governor and these kind of things, but that's sometimes not enough.
Well, they also have you can subscribe to
yes.
press or to their releases where they come to your email automatically as well. So if you go out on that site.
We're going to see us, and I don't know if you've been on our sites recently, we're going to get better and better. That is something that we're working on daily, and there is new information that comes to us that, like I say, the group, long story short, the subject of the playgrounds. That was Saturday night. The group was here, up, making the signs and doing the operation at 11 o'clock on Sunday. By roughly 2 o'clock, the group had went out and put that out. We're trying to be reactive to get things done as quickly as possible, but like you said, there's a lot of information, and there's some things that we've done a lean in where we ask, you know, could you do certain things? We've had a lot of the businesses, and this is good. A lot of businesses are actually taking it upon themselves to do things, and it's not. But we also, because we've had some, so where's your mandate? Where's your directive? I want to see it in writing, and we can't produce that.
Right.
So we do say, we're just asking, you know, to consider, let's work together. But we do see the county health department possibly in the future issuing more to take on that role. And it's at that point, like say the first reported case is a game changer for the county, for the county and the city. So we're watching, we're talking, we're trying to get better each day. We're finding new places to go. Of course, the governor's boom this and boom that. So we will keep on top of it. I would say, I wish I could say we have every answer on our website right at this moment. No, but we are trying to strive to get it better. In those questions that you get, hopefully tomorrow, and some of the things that we're going to put on our site information, hopefully it'll make it easier in the grocery store, or the phone call that, you know, are you closing the restaurant? And you want us to be able to sit there and go, that's county's decision. That's county's, the county health department's decision. That is something they control. So, other than that, I appreciate staff what all they're doing, and you've seen tonight, like you've seen before, anytime we obtain grants, that saves the taxpayer money. These things are quality of life issues that they've been working on. We hope to get those more of those in the future. Certain things, government offices are kind of doing different things at the moment, so we do have some things temporarily on hold. Staff has gotten together, and during this downtime, which we asked for, but during the downtime to be productive is we're getting a lot of things in-house done that normally we wouldn't have done. So staff is still being productive. We are going ahead and doing some our engineering or footwork now, so that when offices, federal offices and state offices open, we're ready to go. We want to be the first in line. So that's where we're at, and I want to commend them. It's a scary thing for them. They're people too, and they want answers. We're trying to form. We're going to be an essential service no matter what. Whatever comes out and this stuff, we're going to have to be here, and it is. We want to protect employees, and we think a lot of them. Some are nervous more than others, but they'll get a job. You will be able to turn on your water. Your electric will come on. Your toilet will flush. We'll have a clean street. Lights will work, and you'll be to turn on your ventilators or respirators or whatever, and the hospital will run. So we've got a big job ahead, and that's what we're focused on. And you know, as you're aware of, the turnaround is still going on. That is very good. They're taking precautions, and I forward that. It is one of those we're there to assist also, and you know, make Coffeyville great. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer those.
Just thank you for all you're doing. I know you guys are putting in some, you're burning the candle at both ends, a lot of days, so,
Right.
thank you.
It's all them. They put in the work.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
we thank everyone.
you all worked together as a great team, and that was very good to hear Rick say those things about we're on track, so that's
I agree.
wonderful. I think that's, you all are to be commended for that.
Definitely. Comments from commissioners and staff?
Just
I don't really have very,
I noticed we have, so there's some electric work going out on Woodland, and it's a different company. I mean, it's not the city of Coffeyville, so is that the feed that goes to the refinery? Is that what that is?
Honestly, Commissioner York, I spent all my time up here. I'm not.
Okay.
Not in the field.
Well, I saw their trucks. I think it's Capital that's working on it. Yeah.
We have the West Star line that comes in
Okay.
through our city, through our territory that feeds the refinery.
That's what I figured it was. It looked like they were doing some pole replacements and some of that, so, yeah. Okay. And then, I know I saw a picture of Stephanie and, Mr. Bradshaw out at the parks on Sunday, putting signs up and working on getting playground equipment marked off, and just want to say thank you very much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Good
not a
point.
normal work day, so, to be out there doing that is a very good thing, so thank you.
yes, thank you.
Yes, question.
Go ahead.
Thomas, you know what I'm going to ask about? And I'm only asking because you are the man with the information, and we didn't discuss it last time, so I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but I just trying to keep that out there on how that project is going, please, if you wouldn't mind.
They're working on the water line, and as well as storm sewer on the north side.
Okay.
Storm sewer is their controlling item of work right now, and if it keeps raining, they have too much digging.
I know,
It
and
rained all last week, we didn't charge them any last week, and then, of course, storms last night, so they have to do their charge today either.
Okay.
They are getting some non-critical items of work done.
Okay.
As far as base charge, that follows the critical path.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else?
I just have one thing to say, and I'll keep it brief, but when Rick was talking about the county needs to work together and have a consistent message, I think us inside the city need to as well. I just found out today that we're going to start meeting with the hospital 2 days a week. Didn't find out through an email, but found out through staff. I think that's amazing. We have some major pillars in this community that we need to work with to make sure that communication's consistent, make sure that we're leaning on each other. Another one I think is the school system, making sure that, that we're working with them, the college. So I would like in the future to know that we're reaching out to Dr. Carell and Dr. Thornburg, as well as, working with the hospital, and that part's down. But the only other, major pillar in the community is our industry. And I don't really have a clear direction on who you would contact directly for our industry, but we need to make sure that we're communicating with them as well. We may not be able to offer anything more than just, hey, how are things going? Is there anything that we can do and help in getting communication out? Is there anything we can put on our website to help with? If I ask for assistance to be given, it doesn't always have to be monetary. So I think the only way we're going to get through this is if we all lean together and work together, and there's a whole lot of silos in this community, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to break some of those down and to move forward and come out of this a whole lot better than we went into it.
Good point.
That's all I got.
So I know the Chamber's also put out a Facebook page that's kind of a go-to for all the, from a Chamber of Commerce standpoint,
Yeah.
so, and that's a great thing.
Mm.
They had a
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good post about curbside delivery service to the,
Yep.
the different restaurants that were providing stuff. So
Anything else?
So I did say that. I got one more thing.
Okay.
When I said curbside, Country Mart does provide and has provided for quite some time now. I just talked to them last night. I didn't know that they offered this, and I don't think there's a lot of people in the community that do know. But they do offer grocery delivery. They have a lady that comes in twice a week. They only have 3 ladies that take advantage of the program right now. And they've been regulars for quite some time. But there's a lady that comes in and she'll run the groceries out. They also said if you call in and make an order, they will take your groceries outside to you in the parking lot so you don't have to go in the store. I know there's a lot of people nervous about, getting out in the public, so
Yep.
I just wanted to throw that out there as well.
That's a good point. That it? All right, I'll make a motion to move to recess to executive session pursuant to KSA 75-4319 to discuss certain contract issues pursuant to attorney-client relationship, exception to the city attorney, city manager, director of electric utilities, deputy director of public works, city finance director, and we'll reconvene back in the room at, let's say, 7:50.
Okay,
Give us 15 minutes.
sure.
Mayor, the director,
Yeah.
deputy director was called away.
Yep.
I apologize.
That's all right. I could have skipped over that, but it was on there.
No, I apologize.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Commissioner York, to recess to executive session pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 to discuss certain contract issue pursuant to the attorney-client relationship exception to include the city attorney, city manager, director of electric utilities, and finance director to reconvene at the commission room at 7:50. Mayor Bauer.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxon.
Aye.
Commissioner York.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster.
Aye.
reconvened from executive session at 7:50. Action taken was to move to authorize the city manager and send a notice to Coffeyville Community College that the city desires not to renew the stadium lease agreement, and to authorize the city manager and staff to commence negotiations for a new lease effective July 1st, 2020.
Is that your motion? I'll second.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Commissioner Van Oster to approve action taken. Commissioner Maxon,
Aye.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Doan,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Oster,
Aye.
Mayor Bauer.
Aye. Move to adjourn.
I sec. Go ahead. Him.
Ladies first.
Motion is made by Mayor Bauer, seconded by Vice Mayor Doan to adjourn. Can I see a show of hands? Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.